it's Dr. O'Hara. I'm going to pick up in the grammar section with some miscellaneous items. Okay, with abbreviations, all terms must be spelled out the first time they are used. That includes citations. And once the abbreviation is explained, do not explain it again. Use the abbreviation. If you will not use the abbreviation more than 3 times, then do not abbreviate the word and spell it out each time. There are some abbreviations that are accepted as words and do not need an explanation. So if you look up HIV in the dictionary, it has noun next to it. So HIV can be used without explanation. Here are some other ones: IQ, REM for REM sleep, ESP, AIDS, HIV, MRI, RN, TV. If you look up US in the dictionary, it will say abbreviation next to it. It can mean ultrasound as well as the United States. So that's why it must be spelled out each time. If you are going to abbreviate in a sentence, you can put it in the parentheses like this. If you're going to abbreviate it in a citation, then you use the brackets to set off the word that's being abbreviated, or the abbreviation, I should say, here. And remember to use the periods with US as an adjective and then US without the periods as a noun. That's on page 107. Okay, subject and verb agreement. We all know that verbs agree with their subjects in number. So I have a singular dog here is sitting on the couch, but I have plural dogs here sitting on the couch. So where we get into trouble is when there is a phrase between the subject and the verb, and the last word here is not the proper number for the verb that goes with the subject. So this sentence is: the student is in the library. And here I'm giving you a little more information. Who brought his books is in the library. So is agreeing with student, not with books. Same thing here. I've got plural students are in the library, and the extra information I'm giving is who only brought one book. So are is agreeing with the subject of the sentence and not agreeing with this phrase. Some nouns end in S that are considered singular, like news, measles, dental caries, diabetes, and mumps. So be careful for those. And then look out for the Latin words. There is kind of a formula that they follow. Usually UM is singular and words that end with A are plural. So here's a variation on a theme with phenomenon and phenomena. Same thing with criterion and criteria. Bacterium is one single cell bacterium. And then if you have more than one, it's bacteria. We have a tendency to use bacteria interchangeably with singular and plural, but this does mean plural. Same thing with curriculum. This is singular and curricula is plural. And then there are collective nouns. These are nouns that represent a group or a collection, and they are singular. So some examples here are jewelry, furniture, and sugar. And then these words here, literature, research, feedback, training, only have a singular form. So nouns and pronouns must agree in number. So when you're using a pronoun, it's going to refer back to the closest noun. So be sure the pronoun that you're referring to is actually describing the noun that you intended in the same sentence, not in a previous sentence. So the pronoun cannot refer to a noun a few sentences before or beyond the closest noun. So here's an example. Students are offered tutoring and are evaluated by faculty to be sure they do not struggle. So they is going to refer to faculty because that's the closest noun. But that doesn't make sense, does it? So they is really referring to the students. So what's going to happen is that instead of saying they, students is going to have to be repeated here so that it will make sense. So singular nouns use singular pronouns and verbs. So he, she, it, and one are singular. His, hers, its, and ones is also singular. Himself, herself, itself, oneself is also singular. Each, everyone, anyone, faculty, staff, population, group, these are all singular nouns and take singular verbs. So the plural pronouns are they, their, them, and themselves. So you have to have a plural noun and verb in order to use these pronouns. So you can't say the patient brought in their medication. Instead, you're going to have to be specific and say his, her medication. You can only use their with plural nouns, so the patient's brought in their medication. Now here we happen to know the gender of the mother, so we can use her. We don't have to say his, her. But now we have more than one mother, so we can use their. Store is singular, so it's going to use the pronoun for objects. But here I've got a plural subject, so I can use their. Remember that one is singular, and so you can say one can organize one's assignments. It's very stilted, but it is correct. Same thing with each. Each is singular, so you have to say each has his, her books for the class. Notice how this is also singular. Okay, do not start a sentence with this, that, these, and those. These words here are adjectives, and they must have a noun to go with them. So this situation, this factor, these findings. You give your regards to Broadway, and in all the other cases, just use one regard. Impact is a noun and not a verb in scientific writing. It is used in other contexts as a verb, but not in scientific writing. So as a verb, it means to crash, and that's not what we mean in scientific writing. So the substitute words are affect and influence. Affect is usually a verb and effect is usually a noun, but they both can be nouns and they both can be verbs. So I put these sentences here to help you. The side effects of the medication will affect balance, and the effect of caffeine can affect my mood. These words that end in IC, Hispanic, autistic, and diabetic are adjectives, and they need a noun to go with them. On is a preposition that means one thing touches another or is in contact with another. So the substitute words are about, of, in, and for. So instead of saying the class was on biology, we can say the class was about biology. And where is an adverb that means place or location. So the substitute words are in which, when, how, and that. What is only used to ask a question. Try not to use what as a placeholder for what I just said or what I said in the previous sentence, or because the reader has to guess the meaning of what. So instead of saying what participants were trying to convey, you can say the information participants were trying to convey. What was called corruption, you can change that to so-called corruption. What is best, you can change that to the best course of action. What the patient wants, you can change to the patient's wishes. What is expected, you can change to the expectations. And then you need to remove proven and revealed from your scientific writing vocabulary. Nothing is really proven in medicine. It's only true for the study population and may not be able to be extrapolated to other populations. So the substitute word is has been shown instead of proven. Revealed implies deception and mystery, which we're trying not to do in our scientific writing, so the substitute word is indicated. And remember that we want to use formal tone and we want to use scientific and technical terms when we're doing our writing because they're more specific. So get is slang. So some of the substitute words are have, has, obtain, receive, be, contract. And then behind is slang, the reason behind. So just change it to for. Though is slang, the proper spelling is although. Instead of on how, you can say about how. I already went over on. Substitute words are about, for, of, in. And then where means location, so you can change it to in which or when. And then this phrase based off of should be based on. Looking at is also slang. You can use observed, considered, examining. And then seen, when you say the patient was seen, so that just means you saw the patient, doesn't mean that you did anything with the patient. So you want to say evaluated, examined, treated. So I'm going to stop here and then I'm going to pick up again with some more items in the grammar section.